God damn it.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Ain't the truth? No, set you free.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
I got my comfy pillow.
Yeah. I know I'm hot. You got a boner right now. It's covered up the.
I know that is a. don't. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Face the Truth. This is gonna be fun because it's in person. It's way better when there's actually someone here you can talk to. You know, screw that whole Zoom thing. But I love this guy, and he's someone I met through doing comedy in Chicago. One of the funnier comedians, although he doesn't think so. One of the funnier comedians that I've had the pleasure of doing shows with, just hanging out with, just you know, shooting the shit and having fun time talking and like after shows and stuff like that. But I love this guy's comedy. I love the way his mind works, and you know how this podcast goes is I want to have a conversation about the art of comedy, and this guy doesn't even realize the art of it. So maybe we'll pull that out of him a little bit. Maybe he'll have some deep thoughts. We'll see. But I don't know where this is gonna go. I'm a little bit nervous. I think this might go really bad. Just trying to make it the worst intro ever. Anyways, I'm totally kidding, of course. I love this guy. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Tom Feeback.
Hey, how are you?
Well, I knew it was too old because after I was done, I would say thank you. Do you know what you should say after you're done breastfeeding? Nothing. You shouldn't even know how to speak. You know?
I'm good, man. Thanks for joining me in my humble abode.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Thanks for saying that I'm funny. I'm a hack, actually. I actually suck at comedy. I don't know why people put me on their shows, but
See, I knew you were going to say this because here's the thing. Like, you're one of the guys. So, I first met you a little over a year ago.
yes, when I was brand new at comedy at the time.
And I think we did like one or two open mics together, and then we were on a show together at the Comedy Vault.
Oh yeah,
or no,
not
the Comedy Vault,
Bar,
the Comedy Bar,
the
that's
5
right.
o'clock show. Shout out Josh Ocean Thomas, very nice kid,
and
funny too.
And that was a weird show.
Yeah,
because it was like Sunday afternoon, and it was
Sunday
still
at 4.
light outside, which is a really weird time to do comedy. But right away, I liked your stuff because, you know, I think influence-wise, I think you and I probably have some of the same influences.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah, exactly. I love Bill Cosby. I don't know what you're talking about. But like right away, like I can connect with your comedy because you know, it's the kind of comedy that I like, where you know you are. It's based on your life.
Yeah.
You're not bullshitting around. That's the thing is, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten off stage and people are like, I think you've even asked me this before, like, was that true?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you get that a lot. Is it true?
Yeah.
It's a weird question, you know. It's like you thought I just made up some wild story, which I mean a lot of comedians do, but
yeah. But I mean, we embellish it and that kind of a thing. But anyways, right away I'm like, I like this guy because you're not afraid to go for it. You're not that's one thing I like about your style, is that you're not afraid to just try it and say it, even if it doesn't work. You still make it funny, even though you're like, oh, it was terrible. It's like, no, it wasn't. You know, it's like, trust me, there's a lot of people that are terrible.
Oh yeah. There's more terrible than there are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that just comes from being like insecure about comedy, especially when you first start. You know, and you want to say that you suck first before someone else can say it, because then you feel like you beat them to it.
I see what your game is here. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I think also, you know, it shows that you care, and it man, I can't tell you how for people that don't know, for like comics, we go to mics and we work out material. For those of us that are serious about this, we work at it and we try shit. We know there's something there. We keep at it. Maybe we put it away. It's not quite working. We take it out a few weeks later. We try it again. We change it. But we're working at it. And we're getting up there and we're working at it. But it's crazy how many people don't work at it.
Oh, yeah.
And they keep getting up and they have nothing.
Yeah.
And they say,
Well, the worst is when you're doing a mic or something. They go, "What's next?"
yeah.
Well, you had all day. You couldn't come up with one thing. Nothing
Yeah.
happened to you. You don't have a funny thought. Nothing.
Yeah.
What's next? That always pisses me off. I want to throw a fucking bottle at someone's head when they say that.
Last night there was this guy who was like, he gets up there and he's like, he first of all, the material was just like, what is happening here?
Yeah. What was his name?
I don't remember his name.
It's fine.
I would say it. I don't remember his name. He looks like he's on meth.
Oh yeah.
That really skinny.
That doesn't narrow it
dude
down at all.
That skinny dude with missing hair and he wears American jean pants and shit. American flag pants and
American flag.
he looks
pants.
like he's like a vet. I think you've seen him
knows?
at least
I've
once.
probably
But
seen
anyways, he looks like Keith Richards on meth.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
saying something there. But anyways, like I think was up there for 2 minutes, and he brings like a group with him. So it's nice for the club because a bunch of people are there.
Yeah.
And they're all there to support him and everything. And he's up there. He lasts about 2 minutes, and then he's like, wow, that went way faster than I thought it was gonna go. And then he was like, I thought that was gonna last 5 minutes. 5 minutes feels like an eternity. And then he starts talking about like jerking. Oh yeah. Then he's like, I don't know what to say next. But I'm gonna try to last the full 5 minutes. He's like doing that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Then he goes, one time hey guys, don't ever try jerking off when you're on cocaine. It comes out, it feels like lava.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like what? And Mike Casseris just started dying.
Yeah. You get a lot of that at open mics, like, well, here's the thing. You're describing him as wearing American flag pants, and then he has the gay voice.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like the type of person that would wear that.
No, and but he's not gay, and hey, and it's fine if he was. Okay, folks, stop being that way.
Yes, I'm gay.
Yeah. But no, but that's just the thing about open mics.
I'm not
It's
gay.
like, it's really funny when, it's weird. I think it's weird too, especially at a place like that where it's like actually a club, and it's different than like a bar open mic because if you do well, you could get booked.
Yeah.
And then you got people that are just like, I didn't write anything, but
Yeah. To me, I feel like a club open mic is more like a showcase than it is an open mic. Like you should have something prepared.
Yeah.
And go up and try to do well. But like at a bar mic, there's no stakes because half the time no one's listening. Actually, they fucking hate you. They're like, I just want to drink beer and watch whatever the hell is on the TV.
Yeah, it's the worst. But I mean, that's part of it though. Is like I always look at the mic as training ground, right? It's like it's funny. I don't know. Like, tell me what you think about this. Like when you first started. But like when I first started going to the mics, I wasn't quite sure what the one thing I was nervous about was I know in my mind that I am a judgmental person and can be very cynical. And I'm going to go up in front of a bunch of comics that are probably all exactly like that.
Yeah.
And they're all judging me and probably making fun of me and my comedy. This guy sucks and whatever. And so there's like all this mental stuff that you have to deal with just to get up there. Or, and I realized right away, like, and the other thing is when I first started, I wasn't sure if it was okay to keep working on, like if I go up there and I work on some bits, I wasn't sure if it's okay to do those bits again the next time because
it's not, Jason. You can't do that.
So I was like, for the first few months that I was going to mics, I was just writing brand new stuff like every day I was writing stuff, and every time I went to a mic, I tried to be different, and maybe I would put in something from before, but then I realized there's something good with some of these bits. I need to keep working on them, and fuck what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I came to realize is this is where I come to work out my ideas, and I don't care what you think because I want to get great at this, and I want to be on real shows as much as possible, and this stuff needs to be worked out.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna have to sit through this my mother's vagina joke like 30 times.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, part of me, I feel like I do feel like that. I feel like you always have to have something, changed or added, because you do hear guys go up there and they just do the same joke the same exact way every single time, and it's like, and they stop hearing the laughs. It's like, because you didn't change anything. It's the same thing. You could listen to a Louis C.K. special. Yeah. I mean, it's still funny, but you might not laugh as hard as you did the first time you hear it. And I feel like that's why people feel the need to always come up with new stuff.
Well, I think once you start building up enough material, then it's, go for it every time with stuff.
Yeah.
But I think also, for me, the way that I do it is, like, I have enough material now that I can do probably 25 minutes where I feel really good. Mm-hmm. And then I got a bunch of material that needs work.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, and that 25 minutes took me like a year, maybe more.
Yeah. Well,
of just building and building.
Well, that's actually 25 minutes. That's a lot in a year. I've
Well,
heard...
probably more than a year, if I'm being honest, because now I'm thinking about it, because I started almost 3 years ago, and some of the stuff I'm still working on is from then. So yeah, but it takes a while to build up that material.
Oh yeah, I forgot where I heard this, but a comic told me once that 10 solid minutes a year is like good for, especially when you're like at the beginning stages.
That
like
makes
the same
sense.
time that we are. 10 minutes a year. People probably hear they're like 10 minutes. They're like, I could talk for 10 minutes, and it'd be funny, but it's not. It's not as good as you think.
No,
plus, you know what I notice a lot in life when people are they're like, oh, I'm a funny guy. A lot of those are pity laughs.
Yeah.
Like, you ever just been in a conversation with someone and they just go,
or even at a mic or a show, like someone's not funny, but you start laughing because
it's way better when someone's not funny.
Yeah,
it's so much better.
The comics are enjoying it more.
Nothing makes me laugh harder than someone bombing on stage.
But I find that, like, in creating material, like, I want to ask you about your process on this, but like what happens to me usually is I'll think of a topic like 72 virgins, which what I would do is, like, last year, I think last September, I was like, oh, it's almost 9/11. I'm gonna write some shit about 72 virgins.
Yeah,
it just popped in my head, like, so I started thinking about 72 virgins, and I just wrote just paragraphs of just whatever I was thinking that I thought was funny and interesting, and I would go to the mic and I would do 5 minutes just on that.
Yeah,
and maybe out of that 5 minutes, there's like 20 seconds that I'm like, oh, that's something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how I try to, like, push an idea as much, and then it ends up whittling down to, like, oh, I have 5 more seconds to my set, or I have,
just a line. I feel like if you go to a mic and you just get another line out of it, you mission accomplished. You did exactly what you went there to do.
Exactly. That's I mean, and it's funny. It's like, it's one of the best feelings in the world when you get a new bit that works. Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of a relief, because I like. So how does your writing process work when it comes to, like real quick? I used to try to sit down and just write stuff, and it doesn't work for me. I have to it just kind of comes to my and I just start talking to myself when I'm walking my dog or something, and maybe I'll write down just jot a couple things after I start talking about it. But more than anything, it's just, I don't really write anything down. It's all just in my head.
Yeah. What I do is, like, if I get an idea, I'll put it in my phone. Just a key words that I need to know so I can get there. And then I don't sit down. I usually I look like a crazy person, but I just pace around my apartment. I'll walk back and forth. I'll say it out loud. I'll kind of, what if I said it this way? What if I said it that way? And then once I get like a solid idea, then I write that down. And then I'll try to, I don't try to memorize it, but I will try to like be like, okay, I need to say this and that to get to the punchline. And but a lot you just have to really do it. It's kind of, you can't write something down and then that's what I did when I first started. I would write word for word everything, like even like, hey, how are you guys doing tonight? I'd write that shit down. And then I'd go up there and I'd be like, hey, how are you guys doing? And then I'd forget everything.
Oh man.
And then I would so memorizing isn't how you do it. You kind of just have to know it's better to know the material than
once you do it, this is why it's really important, I think, to get up there and just do it, because that's the only way you're gonna even get anywhere with it. Is you by going up there and doing it, you start to learn the rhythm, and I find that's such a huge part of stand-up is the rhythm and how you release the information, like how it's the delivery. You can say the same joke twice, but if you paced it not the right way, or if you didn't pause in the right spot, it just doesn't land. And there's some comics that I see over and over again that they're just up there kind of like, and there's this. It's like, dude, if I said that same bit, I could make it funnier. Because it's a little bit of acting.
Yeah, a little bit.
You gotta kind of you're performing. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
But I don't know. I find it like interesting. There's so much about it that comes into play, and this is why I want to talk about the art of it. Is because there's a lot of people, even fans of mine that follow my podcast and everything. Most of my fans are into like painting and drawing and illustration, and that's why they follow me, and they're like, dude, why do you keep talking about this comedy all the time? Because I love it, and it's what I do.
Fuck you.
They're like, but the thing is though, is comedy is so much more challenging and difficult than people realize. And
I think I can't draw a stick figure, so I think drawing is definitely harder. Well, for me at least. Yeah. But you're more naturally. You probably just flows off your your fingers.
Drawing and painting is difficult. It's very challenging. Yeah, you could never do it. But like the thing about comedy that I find interesting, what inspires me and why, I mean, I've been drawn to it my whole life, but now actually doing it is like the challenge of it. It's not just, it's hard enough coming up with the funny idea, the punchline, and also there's all this stuff you fight with in your mind, or at least I do, where I'm like, is this cheesy? Is this dumb? Like I think this is funny. Is that enough that I think it's funny? Maybe my sense of humor is terrible. Like, and you can kind of get in your head, and there's some jokes that I thought were hilarious, and then and I practice it, and then I'm like about to do a mic, I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I think this is embarrassing. I shouldn't do this one.
Because we consume a lot of comedy and we see it. You don't want to sound like a hack, but sometimes people like the easy jokes. Yeah. Like sometimes when you think of this bit and it's like it's so layered and there's like you actually have to listen to it. Yeah. I feel like a lot of audiences, they're like, we don't want to think. We just want the easy come in my ass joke, or something easy that people can digest easily. So that's why I think that comics overthink a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. That's what I'm trying to say. Is it's not just trying to come up with a good bit. Once you have the bit, then you have to learn how to say it, how to pace it, how to deliver it, maybe how to act it out. Like I really enjoy trying to get a little bit more physical and do a lot more expressions, and adding all these different elements all come into play to pull it off to be funny. One of the best advice that I've heard was from Rob Schneider. I can't remember who. He was on some podcast, and he was talking about comedy, and it's the most simplest thing. But when I heard it, I was like, oh, man, it kind of changed everything for me. And it was so simple. I've also heard Jessica Kirsten say this, it's supposed to be funny. And you should be ridiculous.
Yeah,
be
yeah. –
ridiculous.
and she is ridiculous on stage.
Yeah.
I think she's so funny.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, and I know it sounds so stupid, but when I heard him talking about, I just every time I go on stage, I'm just thinking I'm gonna just be ridiculous and be ridiculously funny and just, I mean, this is supposed to, like, most people should be embarrassed to do what I'm about to do, but I'm gonna do it because I love it and I'm gonna make everyone laugh, and that's what this is about. It's making people laugh.
Yeah.
And like once I started thinking that way, I'm like, dude, I just got to make people laugh.
Yeah,
Like, and
it's sometimes it's so simple as just make someone laugh, but
Yeah.
it's the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, like back to what I was saying. People are like, oh yeah, I'm funny, yeah, but it's like you're amongst your friends, so the setup's already kind of applied.
Yeah.
You know, and then you kind of just have to punch.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, man. Because like that's a difficult thing about for people that are trying to get into doing stand up. It's way different doing a show in front of a crowd, like real people.
I actually think, for me at least, I feel it's easier.
That's what it is.
When you're at open mics and stuff, you're just trying to work it out and get better. You know, the comics hear so much shit that it has to be really good. And a lot of stuff, this is actually the interesting thing, is a lot of stuff that works at mics won't work at shows. I've noticed that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was about to say, is like it's you know, sometimes it feels like you're doing stand up when you go to the mics a lot, you're doing stand up for your stand up friends.
Yeah.
Cuz you want to get them to laugh. But that doesn't mean that that's going to work, you know. And sometimes you do something at a mic and no one laughs, but you know if you did it in front of a real crowd,
it would work.
It'll kill.
Yeah.
Because you're basically at a mic, you are doing stand up to a bunch of dead souls.
Yeah. We're all pretty dead inside.
Yeah. Like, you know, but but that's the thing. Like for example, like when I hear you get up and do a brand new bit and it kills, like I get excited. I'm like, damn, yeah, that's awesome.
I still think I suck, but
well, I mean, that's part of it. Like I feel the same way. Like, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody obviously, but I would think most comics are, if they're being honest, are insecure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I definitely, especially when you go up to try a new bit. Like sometimes I'm excited to try a new bit because I'm like, I think I'm going to get them with this one, and I get excited.
You get those ones that are just like, I know that's going to work.
Yeah,
it's not. But then you do some of you're like, this one's probably not going to work today, but I just need to say it out loud, and you know, kind of get the footing of it, and then you kind of go back and
I don't know, but that's part of the fun of it. It's I look at it as a, you know, like, you know, part of stand up for me is like I don't get to do it as much as I would like to. So
well, how often do you get out?
Like 2-3 times a week if I can.
That's I mean,
yeah.
They say someone told me this. I forgot. I think it was fuck, I'm blanking on the name. I can't remember the name, but a comic that's been doing it for a while. He said if you can get it's just like going to the gym. If you can get up, you know, 4 times a week, that's that's good.
Yeah, I'd like to go out every night if I could. It's impossible. I got kids and
work
and a career.
Yeah.
But I want to get out as much as possible. But so like we were talking about earlier, like, you know, a callback to earlier, is, you know, I feel like because I don't get to go as often as I can, I have to work harder. Like I feel like I have to work harder, take it more serious. So every time I do get up on stage, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but because I don't get to go out every night, like, you know, you go to a mic, you only get 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like I want to make that the best that I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to get to go out for another couple nights or whatever it is. And, you know, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm getting on shows more regular now, which is really great. But and the thing I try to explain to my wife too, but, you know, she's like, you're going to go out tonight? You're so tired. Because I had a huge deadline yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I got a show coming up and I got to practice, you know? And she was even like, yeah, but you're doing new bits. You're not going to do these new bits in the show. I'm like, I might do one of them maybe.
Yeah,
but,
if they work.
Yeah,
why not?
but I need to work out. Like it's even just getting up and saying anything. I don't know. I feel like I got to prepare and practice and everything. I don't even remember where I was going. I lost my train of thought. But I did remember something I was going to say before about the jokes and just being afraid to say the same joke over and over and over again. And the one thing that I learned from that is basically, I think from Luca too. I was talking with Luca about this. Luca Farrow, shout out. Is once you get a joke down, like really, really down, just save it for the show.
That's in the act.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I do. I have a
kind of retire. Some bits.
It's almost like
mics.
they graduate to the act.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of you have your act, and then you kind of have your open mic set list act, whatever you want to call it.
Because you're working on that shit.
That's all the stuff.
But every once in a while, I think it's okay you pull one of those into a mic, because I kind of. Do you know who Ted Alexander or Alexandro?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Love that dude, and I actually had him on the podcast, and we were talking about this very thing, and it was really cool because he was like, what he tries to do, because he still goes out. His mic is the cellar in New York.
Yeah.
But he says he'll go out, and he'll maybe open with something that he knows works.
Yeah.
He'll do
I try to do that too, especially if it's I like to do that if the new jokes aren't working.
Yeah.
I like to throw in a joke that I know works
to
see if it's me or to see if it's the audience.
Yeah.
And sometimes that'll give you a gauge. I like to open it up, or maybe open it up on a joke that works, so that you can kind of get them going, so they kind of like you, and then I feel like you have a little bit more room to play. Yeah,
it can be, that's why I said that the joke that I opened with last night, it was a little harsh, because right away I'm almost the joke, the punchline for the first part is just fuck you. Yeah. But it's so aggressive that maybe I scared everybody. I felt, but it worked the night before. So, but I think like what he was saying is he likes to go out and he'll do like a joke or two that he knows works, and then he'll try like 2-3 new ideas, and then he'll end with something he knows that works. Yeah. Just so
a shit sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a common method of trying jokes.
But and what I've been trying to do is I'm trying to force myself basically weekly to try to come up with something. Yeah. Like there's a bunch of stuff I've been working on for months, and I don't feel good about any of it, but I keep coming back, and like there's something there. Yeah. I feel like I get to that point in some jokes where I think that it's almost there, but it's like you don't. And then I feel like if you keep on saying it on stage over and over again, and that is how you work it out. But sometimes you have to take those bits, you have to kind of put them on the back burner, work on them, and then try and put new stuff in, and then try to rework that. Isn't it weird how that works too? Like, I've had some ideas that I'm like, there's something funny here, and I just love saying these words. Like, there's something funny about the words. Yeah. But there's nothing there. And then a year later, I'll be writing something, thinking something else, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, that fits perfectly for this. Yeah. And like, boom, oh my gosh, I got a bit. That's usually how it goes, and it's kind of frustrating that it takes that long, but I know, dude. It's just how it is. So let's go back a little bit here. So when did you start officially doing stand-up? January 9th, 2020. Jesus, okay. So I started a year before you. I started, but then the pandy happened. Yeah, so it didn't really. I started in January, and I was only going once. I was only going to a mic once a week. So I would write all week. Hey, how you doing? I write all that shit down, and then I would go and try that material, and I would suck. I would forget everything I wrote down for the whole week. And then I was only doing that once a week until March, when everything shut down. Then I wasn't doing anything. Yeah. Until whatever. So I would say I didn't really start grinding at it until, what was that? October of 2021? 2020. October 2020, I think, is when I really started going every day.
Because didn't everything kind of open up for a little bit and then it shut down, or was I just super spreading?
No, I think if I remember correctly, and it wasn't until like spring of 2021 that things started opening up.
Yeah, I think there was a short amount of time, like around,
because I couldn't. There was no. I was living in Chicago during all that, and there was no mics for the longest
I remember
time.
when I first. I think that there was a. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was a period of time in like the fall of 2020 when when people were kind of breaking the rules a little bit, I guess.
Oh.
But Riddles Comedy Club in Alsop, they were doing a mic, and every comic in the scene was there because it was the only one. So like you'd get there, it looked like you were at like a Bears game. People were just tailgating and just hanging out in the parking lot.
Man,
It'd be like 100 comics deep.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it would go
dude.
all night.
And half of them died of COVID.
Yep. I wish it was more.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, because I hadn't, I was just getting busy doing mics just before everything shut down. And I was so bummed because I'm like, dude, I was just getting a rhythm, and I was so then during the lockdown I just was writing because I'm like, I don't know when it's gonna. I was trying to be prepared, like I'm ready to go at it as soon as things open. And the crazy thing is, just like how I got into doing stand up with Steve Byrne asking me to open at the Improv as a guest spot, not like as a guest spot. But still, that's how I got into stand-up.
That's still an insane. You told me that story before, and that's just an insane way. I couldn't even imagine going up on stage at the Improv.
It was my first time.
As your first time, especially.
Yeah, and I did well enough because he invited me to come the next 2 nights.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into it. Then I went from that to doing mics, and then everything was locked down, and then things were just starting to open up in Chicago, and I was going to the Comedy Bar like twice a week, and my buddies and a few other Chicago places, just working out all the things I was writing during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So I started getting up and just trying that stuff. And then for like a month I did that. And then Steve calls me and goes, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago in June. You want to do three nights? And I'm like, so my second time actually really getting out again happened to be at the Improv.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. So it's like crazy to not be on stage very much at all, and then all of a sudden have to do that.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then after that, it was back to the grind of the mics, and that's the first time I went to CG's.
Yeah.
Was right after that. And so,
well, the first time I went up on stage was actually at CG's. Very first time I remember, I was so fucking nervous.
That's what I wanted to ask, is like, why? What was your, like, have you always been into comedy, and did someone talk you into it and be like, I think you're funny, you should try this?
Well, when I was a kid.
Was it Kyle?
No. Well, Kyle and a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
I'll just start from the beginning. When I was a kid, I loved comedy. I remember I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I found an iPod at a park, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I bring it home. I plug my headset into it. The first thing that pops up is Dane Cook doing the Kool-Aid bit. And I thought that was so funny. Where he's like,
that's awesome.
He's like, a talking bowl of punch is gonna, burst through my dad's gonna beat the shit out of me. I was like, I thought that was so funny. And then, and then you see stuff on Comedy Central growing up, as much as you can. We didn't really have HBO or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So if you catch something on Comedy Central, then when Netflix became big, me and my family, my mom's a huge comedy fan. We would watch those together as a family. And I fell in love with like Bill Burr, Tom Segura, all the Netflix guys, and then I was just at a point in my life where I was like, this is what I want to do. And I couldn't. I felt like it was the only thing I could do because I wasn't good in school. I had some legal trouble when I was younger. I was like, fuck, comedy's my thing. This is like no one's gonna want to hire me, or I felt like I couldn't do anything, and I always was funny. Like 8th grade, I won like class clown in the yearbook. Funny, most likely to make you. Yeah, I won. Oh, I told everyone to vote for me. This is really how I won. But yeah, and then eventually, like I wanted to do it for a long time, and then so right when I turned 21, I started working at Zany's. I was working the door, just to watch comedy and kind of understand how it worked. And Kyle, back to Kyle, came to a show, and he was hanging out with us afterwards. And he was like, have you ever thought about doing comedy? I'm like, yeah, I really, really want to do comedy. So he's like, he gave me a pen, a CG's pen with the number on it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I tried to call. call CG's to be like, can I do an open mic here? And I'm not sure. I forgot what they said. But I think then I texted Kyle. I said, I'm just going to come and do a set. And he's like, okay, sign up. So I went. I had all this material written and stuff. And I go up without my notes. And I go, hey, how are you guys doing? Like I remembered that I wrote down.
Yeah.
And I froze. I couldn't remember anything that I said. And Luca, a friend of ours, was sitting right in front, and he handed me my notebook, and I just read my notebook on stage.
That's awesome.
And that was the first time I was on stage. And then, so I was horrible.
Yeah.
I was worse than I am now. And so I just read my jokes, and that's how I started comedy.
Oh man.
I don't know if that was interesting.
No, that is interesting. I was just curious because, like, a lot of people that know me, they're like, oh yeah, this makes sense that he's doing stand-up now. But there's a lot of people that think they know me. They're like fans of my art, and they've been following me for like 20 years, and they're like, what is he doing? Like, why is he doing this? But
Well, it is art.
yeah, exactly. It's
So, I mean,
to me,
it's just an extension
just
of it.
exactly, and I kind of think of it, and there's a lot of similarities between what I do with my art and with the stand up. But like when I was a kid, it was my dream to do comedy. Like ever since I saw Bill Cosby, I know people are gonna say it, but he's one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best.
yeah.
He's the best guy.
Dude. Yeah.
He's the
he's
nicest.
a great guy. He's
dude.
a great guy. Yeah. But I mean I remember when I was a little kid, he's like, my bubble lip is on the floor, baby. The whole thing, and he's like fiber, you know.
Yeah.
All that stuff, like I would just mimic it, and I would just die laughing. It was like hi, I'm Jeffrey, I'm 4 years old, all that kind of stuff, and you think, and I just loved it. I would watch I think it was Bill Cosby himself. I would watch it just over and over and over. We had it like on VHS, I think, and then Eddie Murphy, and then I started listening to Pryor, and so like I just always loved it. Dane Cook, like in the early 2000s,
was
basically
huge.
What's his name? There's that one guy, I'm blanking on his name. He's always angry political guy.
Bill Maher.
No. Louis Black. So I would just listen to these things, and I just loved it so much. Even when I went to go to even when I was growing up as a kid, I was always like making my parents' friends laugh. My parents would be kind of like, "What are you doing?" Like we'd go out to Taco Bell or something after church, and my mom and dad's friends would come. We'd all go together, and I'd be saying crazy stuff, and my parents would be like, "Stop it."
Yeah, I was always the kid saying crazy stuff too. Like, I remember being, I think I was always kind of funny. I remember being a kid, and I watched Jackass.
Oh yeah.
And do you remember Party Boy, where they put on the fucking Speedo, and they like jump around and be like Party Boy. Or
oh yeah.
I remember doing that as a kid.
Yeah.
Like when people would come over, I would do that.
Yeah.
Like to my family friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'd always do talent shows as a kid.
Yeah.
Like my family would be sitting in the living room or whatever, and we'd be like, we're doing a talent show, and then we'd do some fucking stupid shit. But I always kind of wanted to be a performer.
Well, yeah,
way.
that's what I was gonna say. Is there's just something there, like, because I ended up, being in bands and touring, putting out albums, and and even in high school I was in plays and all that kind of stuff. I was on an improv team for a little bit, so there was always there was always like that. I just always loved performing, and but even when I was in bands, my bandmates would get a little like like if like we would normally do song. So as soon as the song would end, we'd be like, you go right into the next song.
Yeah.
Usually when a song ends, the drummer would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. You just go right into the next one. But every once in a while, someone's guitar is out of tune, and they had to tune the guitar so fast because I'd be like, because I didn't like the silence.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is a show. We got to keep going. So I'd get up there and be like, yeah, so there's a lot of mullets here in Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and they'd be like, no, like what's the deal with all the mullets and the Megadeth T-shirts? You know, and so it was sort of like preemie stand up in a way. But my bandmates would be like, hurry up, he's getting on the mic, you know.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, you're out of tune, just start the song anyway. And then I would just keep going, and so basically what I'm trying to say is, like, I always wanted to do it. Even like when I was in art school, I remember meeting this or overhearing this kid. I don't know who it was. I wish I knew, because I don't know if they're still doing comedy or what, but I heard that this kid, he was like one locker down, was talking about how he's doing stand up every night and all this stuff. And I remember being jealous, and I'm like, I want to, what? And I thought I don't even know anything about this guy. I'm like, oh, right away I thought he was so cool.
Yeah.
This guy's doing stand up.
He was really a loser.
Yeah, probably. But it's like it's just that thing that there was always like a seed planted in that, you know. So when Steve Byrne gave me that opportunity, I was scared to do it, but I was like, I'm not going to turn that down.
Yeah.
And then once I did it, I was like, it felt like I'm supposed to be doing that, dude.
Yeah. You're like, fuck you, kid, down the hall.
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
It's
Fixing
probably
ACs?
probably not even funny.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, because I think we covered some stuff that this is more like inside baseball.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about, because
This is where we get deep on the Patreon.
oh yeah, but this is the reason I like talking about this kind of stuff, and I do this with every artist that I talk to, is a lot of people don't, you know, they're a fan of comedy, or they're a fan of sculptures or photography or painting or whatever it is, but they don't really know the behind the scenes of what it's like. They don't really get that aspect of it, and so I
think honestly, I think is I don't mean to cut you off,
No, go
but
ahead.
I think it's changing now. Because before, like, comedy, people are like, I love comedy. You just watch the specials, but that's years and years and years of perfecting it. And even when they shoot that special, that's multiple shows, and they cut together the best parts of each show.
Yeah.
But now I feel like people are like, I want to come out and see them work it out, because you know, podcasting is so big, and you know, watching like YouTube specials, and you know, people doing like, you know, working out sets and stuff. I think people are more interested in the how it's built now.
Yeah, for sure. Like, do you know Craig Conant?
Yeah.
He's hilarious. I had him on my podcast like a couple years ago.
Wow.
And
So I'm not even the funniest guy that's been on this podcast.
And it was really great talk. I met him in person. Real short story. I met him in person at the Comedy Store. I went there to hang out with Jeremiah Watkins. I went to Kill Tony, and there's another comic, JD Witherspoon, who I had him on my podcast before. And when I got to the Comedy Store, him and Craig are just standing outside chilling out. And I went up and talked to JD, and he was like, "Oh, hey, man!" And you know, he's on my podcast, so obviously he remembered me. And so we just talk and everything. And I told him about my upcoming thing with Steve Byrne, and they were both like, "What? What are you?" And Craig was so funny, because he's like, "Dude, you are gonna bomb so bad."
Yeah,
He was telling me, and I'm like, "Thanks, man." And I'm like, "But," I said, I'm gonna do my best. You know, it's only 5 minutes, and I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he was just laughing. He's like, "I can't believe the first time you're gonna go up before Steve Byrne," and they were just making fun of me, and it was kind of funny, because you could tell they weren't being assholes. They were just comics.
Yeah.
And they're like, "That's crazy that you're doing that."
That is insane. I still can't believe it.
And so they were teasing me about it and stuff. But then I had Craig on after, like a few months after, and he was so confused. He thought that, for some reason, he thought I lived in LA, and he was going to come to my house to be on the podcast the day of the podcast, and he was so confused. I'm like, dude, no, I explained to him that it was going to be through Zoom and all this kind of stuff, and then he was just like, he was in his car, on his phone for
on
my
Zoom?
podcast. Yeah, that's how he did it. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, you thought I was like, did you think I was going to fly to LA? He goes, I don't know. Like, it was so, like, what the heck are you doing, dude?
I'm gonna fly to LA to do a free podcast.
Yeah, but he was very confused because I was like, dude, I just, that's what it was. I was like, I just talked to you the other day and told you, man, I wish I knew that you were going to be in Milwaukee. I would have went to the show because I live in Chicago. It would have been, I could have hung out. And I go, what did you think? I was going to fly from L.A. to Milwaukee to watch you? And he's like, that's when he goes, I don't know. I'm like, dude. Anyway, so we did the podcast with him in the car, and it was really funny. But the reason I brought this up was just what you were saying was even the biggest comics, like you just said, Joe Rogan just did the Zanies
in Old
which is
Town.
crazy.
Yeah.
But he said one of the things that pumped him up and excited him through his comedian journey, which he was opening for Chris D'Elia for a while and everything. So he's been working his way up, and now he's like headlining all over the place. But he said he would go to the Comedy Store every night, and he would watch Joe Rogan working out brand new material, and he said it was so awesome because he sucked.
Yeah.
Like, Joe would get up there with a new idea, and he would be up there for 20, 25 minutes and just bombing. Just like maybe a couple laughs, but it's just like, geez, this is bad. But then he saw him the next night and the next night and the next night, and he's still doing the same material every single night. And he's like, it's getting better, better. And he goes, a month later, he is got like almost like just an insane killer set.
Yeah.
And but he was like, I was there when he started, and it was nothing, and it was bad. And that's Joe Rogan. And so it's like, that's the thing that's amazing about this is, you know, like you can, and I'm getting to the next part what I want to talk to you about. But like you can have comedian friends, which we both have, that, you know, that I believe are really funny and really good comics. And I get excited just to see what they're doing, and it's really encouraging. But sometimes you go and they don't do well.
Yeah.
And you're like,
That's honestly most of comedy.
like,
Not
holy
doing well.
shit, he kind of ate a bag of dicks tonight. But you know what? He comes back the next time and he murders whoever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but that's part of what it is. That's the game. That's what you do. But anyways, what I wanted to talk to you about was bombing. I wanted to talk about just if you have any funny bombing stories, or just also just what it feels like.
Bombing stories. I mean, I have so many. The worst. I'm trying to think of the worst bomb I've ever had. Oh, I can tell you this story. This is pretty funny. So, I think it was the first time I was hosting at a club, CG's, and it's a light turnout that night. You know, maybe 20 people are in the audience. I go up there doing some of the best material that I have up top, and not working at all. And I keep plowing through, you know, and I get to a joke. I did a joke about something. It's the joke where I'm like, it's basically like the more weight you gain, the smaller your dick gets.
Yeah.
And that got it. That finally got a laugh. And I hear some dude in the front go, "Finally." That's what he said to me. He said, "Finally."
Like finally something
Finally
funny.
something funny. Yeah. And I was almost done with my set. I was like, oh my God. And that was probably the worst feeling I ever had, bombing. But I feel like a lot of it blends together. It just all feels like shit, you know? But
yeah, it's weird. Like I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever bombed at a show. I've only, I think, bombed at mics, which I don't really feel bad about.
no. Here's the thing. If they didn't pay to get in,
Yeah.
you don't owe them anything.
Yeah, like luckily I've done well at there's only one show I can think of that I didn't do as great as I wanted, but that was so it was I did a show at the Wiener Circle
Oh yeah.
with
yeah.
Dario.
Yeah.
So right there, doing stand up at the Wiener Circle.
Yeah, it's a hot dog place,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's ordering a beef sandwich and you're
the front table was what I describe as a table of Walmart lesbians. These are the most butch lesbians, and they have like ripped off sleeves. They look like truckers.
yeah.
And here's the thing, I don't have a problem with anybody. Do whatever you want, but I could tell that they had a problem with me. The moment I walked on stage,
Yeah.
I could tell that table hates me.
Yeah.
Right. Look at this fat white guy.
Which is
Like,
weird because you kind of look like a lesbian. You know?
yeah, I think they would have related. I'm like on their team. But like you were just waiting to say that.
I was. You saw the smirk in my.
Yeah.
face.
But what's funny is like I could tell right away they hated me. And here's the thing: the guy before me, he was really vulgar, and he was saying "pussy" this and like just, and I could tell.
Was he doing well?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That always sucks when people go dirt because when
Yeah.
you're bombing,
Yeah.
you're like, fuck, I gotta go dirty so that they like me more.
He was doing great with the comics in the back.
Oh yeah. That's
But like the whole front, like they were sitting right in front, and they were all just like, and I was like, ooh, and you could feel there's like this energy you could feel, and so when I got up there, I started doing a couple of my bits, and it's just I could tell, like this side of the room was laughing and the back was laughing, and I had two friends that came, they were in the back and they were having a good time, but this table was just like, and they're just eating their hot dogs and stuff, and I was like, wow, you guys, and I said like, for a bunch of Walmart lesbians, you guys sure don't like comedy, but you love those wieners.
yeah.
You're putting those wieners back, or
Yeah.
I said something like that, and it was just like, and I could hear like Dario in the back, like, ha!
Yeah.
But I didn't really bomb. It's just I could tell that they, like everyone else was having a good time, but there's like that energy.
There is something about like even if you're doing well on a show and one person's not laughing,
Oh,
you
yeah.
focus in on them and you're like, how can I crack this fucking asshole?
Yeah, and it's weird. It gets under your skin, man. It's like, but like, so I feel lucky that so far, like almost all the shows I've done pretty well. But there have been a few mics where, like I said, like I don't really, like, sometimes like you I don't know if you can relate to this, but like, there's been times where I've gone to like a mic like Mojo's or something, and I try out new stuff. And I've had sets there where I murdered. And I'm like, damn, dude, I just killed. Like, the whole place was going nuts the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you feel so good. And you're like, dude, I just fucking murdered this place just now. And then I come back the next week, same place, with some new ideas I'm working on. And I'm like, I think these are going to be. And nothing.
Eat it, yeah.
And there's been a couple times that happened. And I will feel like depressed.
Oh, yeah.
For days. Until and my wife would be like, "Why you do this to yourself?" Because I'll just be so, and it's like you're only as good as the last time you were up there.
Yeah, that's how.
And
I
you
feel.
just feel like, oh man, like I'm a loser.
And that's kind of
like,
what I struggle with is I feel like my mental health is so attached to how I do on stage, and I think the best comics, they kind of detach themselves from that. And I feel like that's how they grow and get better. Because I mean, I
don't know, man.
You know me. I'll go up and I'll do fine. Not great. Not bad. I'll do fine. I'll be like, that was fucking terrible. And I get off stage and I'm all pissed off. But it's like I feel like the best comics kind of go,
You're like that almost every time though. So that's why like, I think it's funny because here's the thing that you have that a lot of in my opinion, a lot of comics don't have. You have material. Like even if maybe your performance wasn't as good, because you're just being hard on yourself because you could have maybe performed it better or delivered it better.
And that's
but the material
is there.
Yeah, like it's funny, it's thought out. Like you're not just up there like, duh.
What else?
So you guys like school buses? you know, like,
yeah, I try to have something prepared. You know, most people don't, but but I think that comes from a couple things. I compare myself to the greats. I compare myself to my Louis C.K. is my favorite comedian. I compare myself to him. I compare myself to people like specials that you see.
Yeah.
Oh well, that wasn't as good as that guy. And also,
yeah,
coming from a background in sports, I grew up playing football. And you're just constantly getting fucking just berated. Even if you did fine, they'll be like that. That sucked. Well, again, do it again.
Yeah.
There's always just do it again. And even if you're like I'm doing this play perfectly, they'll still be like that fucking sucks. Because I think that does push you to be better.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, there's people that are terrible and they get off stage like that was good. That was good. I'm like no one laughed. How is that good?
Dude, there's been times where I think I did pretty good. I feel like, I think I had a really good set. And I felt good about it. And then I listened to it back because I usually record myself just so I can hear it. I listen back and I'm like, oh, no one's laughing.
Yeah.
Like, why did I think I did well?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I don't know what that is. I heard.
That's at a mic, anyways. Not,
yeah, a mic. Yeah. It doesn't matter. All of this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Fuck, I forgot. Oh no, like American Idol. Do you know how people would go on that show and they would sing and it'd be so bad? I heard they actually are mentally ill and in their ear they think they're singing beautifully, but when it comes out of their mouth,
yeah,
it's horrible. But in their head they're like, this is really good. They're mentally ill. Yeah, they're.
I like how you said it so sincerely. Like, did you know these people? They're mentally ill.
yeah. Well, if you're gonna go on that show, most of them are mentally ill.
But you're saying that there's a lot of comics that come on. They think they're funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I know, dude. I know that.
But there are. I mean, honestly, we're in Chicago, and I think Chicago is probably the third best city for comedy. Well, it's actually probably I think we have a lot of good talent here. It's a really good breeding ground for comedy. You know, I think that there's a good competition level here. The problem with Chicago is there's no industry.
Yeah,
you're not going to make it out of Chicago. But there's so many good comics that start in Chicago and get good, and then go to LA, and they usually crush.
Yeah,
they usually crush out in different scenes.
Yeah. I don't know what your goals are with this, but like for me, what I want to do is I want to keep building to the point of getting in Chicago, getting on features and just that. I want to build to that point where I can be on shows more like every other weekend or every weekend, depending on how much my wife can handle it. But
well, I think once you start making money, not career money, but once you start you're like, oh, I can make a couple.
No, but I
bucks.
think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And my goal is I'm hoping to be able to get on some shows with some bigger comics, and just see where that leads.
Yeah,
that's kind of like right now, because right now I'm just enjoying going out and I want to do as many shows as possible, but. I'm like people like, when's your Netflix special? I'm like, dude, that's not, my mind is not, that is
special.
No. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's I just want to do shows, and I'm going to be doing a show with Steve Byrne again in the fall. And I'm just so excited about that. Cause to me, that's a huge, and this time he's having me host. So it's like I kind of upgraded from being a guest spot to now I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
It's all about
I'm building. It's baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. But I don't know, man. It's like to me. I think a lot of people, even not even in comedy, but even in the art world, people want to be on the cover of Time magazine right away.
Yeah.
They want they'll write me how do I get this? It doesn't work that way. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah. Well, a lot of whenever you see someone shoot a special,
yeah,
I mean, there's the rare cases like Eddie Murphy. You know, he was very
Yeah.
young when he did that. Or even like, you know, like Taylor Tomlinson. She's young and she has, you know, 2 specials on Netflix. But a lot of those people, they don't make it till they're like late 30s, early 40s. You know,
Yeah.
and that's if they start at like 20.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have no grand illusions about it. I just want to be the best, and I'm hard on myself, and I work hard at it, and I just love it.
That's all. That's really all you could do.
Yeah, and I'm just enjoying. I'm not like, dude, like, you know, I'm gonna record an album soon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like maybe one day I will, but not. I'm not like. I'm not even. I will not do that until I know like it's gonna be solid, and I'm gonna have. I want. Here's the thing. Like I think that you're funny.
Thank you.
I believe that I'm funny sometimes, but I want to get to a point where I'm put on shows and people want to come to the show to see me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I don't want to you know, I'm happy to be a feature and to get on shows or to open or whatever or host, but that's my goal really. Is I want to get to a point where like, dude, we're gonna go see Jason Seiler who's gonna be at the, you know, and I want to. That's what I want to do. That's not going to be anytime soon. You have to build up the reputation and all that stuff. That takes time. And again, the same thing with illustration, where people, you know, like, why, you know, I've been sending my work to this magazine and doing this and that for years, and it's like, dude, part of like, and one thing I try to explain to people, in you know, that have interest in being an artist at all, being an artist requires a person to have to be able to deal with struggle. It is a struggle. It does like and you're only going to get better through struggle, and it doesn't just get handed to you.
Yeah, well, there are the rare cases where, you know, people, they start comedy and they get more things early on.
Yeah,
and it's almost a bad thing, because a lot of people that get to a certain place really quickly, they kind of plateau there. They kind of stay there. But when someone has to, you know, keep grinding and overcoming things, I think that just that catapults them higher than the people that, you know, hit a certain level and they kind of just stay there. 'Cause there's a lot of people that just, you know, they get good really quick, and then they're a feature and they just stay as a feature.
Yeah.
They don't break through to the next level.
Yeah.
And it's almost good to kind of have the thick skin that you build up through doing open mics and people telling you no.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that you gotta earn it. You gotta work up to it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much a lot of what my comedy is.
Oh, my wife is back.
Observation. Oh no.
Wife and kids are back.
Is my car in the way?
Your car is in the way.
Oh shit.
But it's okay. We're gonna wrap this up in a minute, anyways.
Okay.
So it might get really loud in a second, but it's fine. Because
you don't bring your. Have you ever done a podcast with your wife?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was great. She actually sat up here. Oh, this is our old apartment. She sat upstairs, and I was down in my studio.
You zoomed it in the same house? Why didn't you just do this?
Because I didn't have the equipment.
Oh yeah.
So
that makes sense.
but it worked out. And it was funny that way.
Yeah.
Because we're still in the same house, in different rooms. But anyways, they are back. So we might have some visitors.
The family is home.
It's okay. Hi.
Hello.
I think we're going to have some visitors here. We're about to wrap it up anyways.
Hey.
Are you being shy? So anyways, we've done it for like 40, about an hour and 10 minutes or so.
Really?
So that's pretty good.
This is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I was telling you this before. I've never really done a podcast before.
Well,
So you got my first appearance.
all right.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cut me a check one day.
Yeah. Yeah. I should be asking you that.
Yeah, take me. Hey, you're getting you're for only doing it as long as you have. You're already getting on Zanies, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Take me on the road with you, man. One of these days.
Well, I forgot.
I'll open for you anytime.
I think I was telling a group of comics. I was like, I think Jason's the most famous person I know, personally. Whoop.
That's kind of funny.
You're the only one I know that has
wish-
a blue check next to their name on Instagram, so that's something. How do you get that? Can you
I don't even know. To be
it
honest,
just shows up.
I found out like like one day, all of a sudden, like different artists I know were writing me like, dude, congratulations. I was like, what? And then my daughter, I think she was 13 at the time.
She goes, oh my God, you're verified?
She's like, yeah, pretty much. She's like, Dad, you got a blue check mark?
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, right there. Like, and I go, what does that mean? I didn't even know what it was.
Well, I thought it means that people have tried to like make accounts as you. So it like verifies that you're the real one.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's very strange.
Let me ask you a question about your art.
Yeah.
Have you ever like seen someone like steal your? Is that a thing in the art community? They steal your art and try to claim it as their own. Like they'll like screen print it or something.
Oh yeah.
And they steal it and say that's theirs.
That's happened a lot.
Really?
Yeah. I've had magazines print paintings, like a painting I did for some other magazine. They stole it from online and use it as a cover.
And don't
No,
pay.
and then my agent has to go after them.
And sue them?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's been times where other artists will trace my work and then post it and say it's theirs. But the funny thing is my work is known enough that right away my fans let me know.
Like that's a siler.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah. Is that how people refer to your art? Is
oh
that's
yeah,
a siler?
Yeah.
Really? That's
and then
cool.
and then there's been times where I was I've seen my work on this so I went to New York, and
Hi.
hey, we're recording here, okay?
Just how I look at. She got Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
That's a delicious snack.
But I went to Times Square and they have all these artists on the streets drawing caricatures and stuff, and they'll have like artwork up to show like, hey, this is what I do. But half of the images they were using were my work that they printed off, and not just this one spot, all over New York City. My work was being used by these people on the street, like to try to show people, like they like print out and laminate my work and have it there, and not just mine, but people I know as well.
Really?
And then I saw my work on the streets in Paris and in Florence, Italy,
Wow.
and there was someplace else. Maybe it was England or something like that. But like, that's weird.
Yeah, that's kind of. It kind of sucks that they're stealing it and not paying for it, but it's also kind of flattering that they're like, this guy's artwork is that good.
Well, it was weird when I was in Italy, and I'm walking around like looking at all this amazing art and just enjoying Italy, and then I see this guy drawing on the street, and then I look and there's a painting I did of Hillary Clinton, just sitting there. I'm like, what? This is so weird. I'm in Italy, and there's a painting of mine that. This is always here. I've never been here before.
Yeah.
But my art's just here all the time. This guy's using it to make money and stuff.
Let me ask you this: is so you know like, if you go to like Six Flags, and you see the guy doing the caricatures or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that like hack? Is that like someone doing like an airplane joke of the art world? Or is
that's
there a lot of
a good question. But here's the thing. I know a lot of artists that do those kind of things. They work for theme park things, and a lot of the artists I know that do that are amazing.
Okay.
But they're really, really good, and they make a living. They tour the country doing fairs and different things, and they make a really good living.
Yeah.
And they're really good. Like they push things, but you're right though. There's a reputation because a lot of those artists that work at those places are kind of just cookie cutter.
Yeah.
They kind of just draw the same face and they just change the hairstyle or something.
Yeah.
But there are a lot that I know that are really, really good. I did that one summer,
Really?
like a long time ago, at Navy Pier.
Oh,
I did it every Wednesday for a summer, and I hated it.
Really?
Yeah, because
Because you probably have some
I'm an
drunk-
illustrator.
Yeah.
And
some drunk idiots like, make me have a huge.
Well, everyone wanted
cock.
cute things, and I was exaggerating a lot, like pushing, and you know, it's like comedy. Like I was telling the rougher jokes.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really like that because even the boss was like, he wanted me to be clean, right? He wanted me to do clean jokes, and so instead I'd give someone like this crazy chin, all stuff, and so I did it for one summer, and I learned how to airbrush and stuff. It was kind of fun, but I was like, I want to just be in the studio. That's more. But I was gonna tell you one time though. This has happened before, but this one time in particular, I was made aware that this Napoleon Dynamite that I painted for Some Magazine was being sold in a Spencer's or like a Hot Topic type place in South Korea. Like this someone like let me know, and they sent me pictures. They had my artwork on T-shirts everywhere, and they were selling them. And I tried to I talked to my agent about that, and there was nothing we could do because it's in Korea.
Yeah.
And
that sucks.
yeah, so it's like they're like making who knows how much money off of it. So yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time.
Do you ever get like weird requests for like paintings? Like, could you put like my face on like Kim Jong Un's body?
Not really.
You don't get that ever?
I mean, I've gotten. Hey, don't touch that, okay? Yeah, I can. I can tell you're very curious. You want to come over here and say hi real quick? Just say hi to the camera.
Do you remember my name?
Don't
What's
touch
my name? You don't remember? Tom. What's your name? Nice to meet you.
Can you give him a high five?
All right. High five. There we
All
go.
right. All right. So that's enough now. Don't touch the camera. We're gonna wrap up in just a sec here. But anyways, this was fun to talk.
Yeah, this was fun.
Comedy and stuff, and just don't touch it. Get off there. Stay away. This is my professional podcast studio.
No, this is good.
But real quick before we wrap up, though, is there like just let people know like if in the Chicago area, like let them know how to follow you, and if you have any upcoming shows. I'm not sure exactly when this is coming out.
No, okay.
But like, just let people know where they can find you at least and follow you, because
Tom Feeback on Instagram, Twitter, wherever. Just Tom Feeback. I have upcoming shows. Hold on, let me check. Sorry, I'm unprepared. This Tuesday, August 9th, I'll be at Zany's. August 10th, I'm doing a show in Wisconsin at some brewery. I don't know the name of it. Let's see. Later this month, I got some shows in Indiana, and then on the 20th, I'm back at Zany's doing the late night show. So if you're in Chicago and want to check out Zany's, come out. It'll be a great show.
sweet. And the only show I have coming up right now is the one I'm producing at the law office, the Breaking the Law show. And we're doing a showcase on August 26th.
I did it before. It was a very fun show.
So we're doing that again. And we got a lot of good comics. It's going to be fun.
Saw Peyton's on it. Peyton's a killer.
Yeah, and we're all doing 15.
Ooh.
So it's going to be more of a showcase.
Yeah.
But that's coming up soon, and I hope to be on other shows and maybe put in a good word at Zany's for me. Wink,
We'll
wink.
do.
Winky dinky winky. Anyways, thanks so much for doing this, man. This has
Thanks
been
for
a lot
having
of
me, man.
fun.
This is awesome.
And thanks everybody for the support. And we'll catch you all next time. So cool, man.